Hi everybody, hope you're okay and having a good day. So yes, you might think, oh, the surroundings are a bit different for my third video, but the reason why it is because usually I'm downstairs in the dining room, but I am upstairs today. I've been trying to film for a long time, but life is lifing. But I did not want to go to bed tonight without filming, so I've just come back from the gym and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And then I found my tripod thingy with a light on it. Look at that. So I thought I'm going to test this out to see. I feel quite bright though. I might play around with the brightness, see if it. Let's have a look. Oh, look at that. Is that better? No, that's not better at all. Let's try this one. Oh, there we go. It's a bit warmer, I think. Yeah, so that's why the lighting's different today. So yes, what I wanted to do today in today's video is talk about kind of my realization into mind body illnesses and the research that I took when I was in between appointments and what I live by today. And so I'm gonna kind of start, I suppose, with, I mentioned that I read some books while I was waiting for my doctor's referral, and all of the books that I got presented with were actually people in the vestibular migraine Facebook group who suggested it. So I know within those groups that there are people that have the same healing system as myself. And there's thousands of people across the globe that, you know, use, I suppose, mind body practices, if that's the right word to use, to kind of heal them when they're having a flare. And I think when I get through these next couple of videos and speak to you about the approach and what I learned and who I learned it from in more detail, I will then start to speak about my kind of, I suppose, daily living and what I do, problems that I face, situations that I face, and show you the connection between stress, anxiety, mind, body. Also, what the doctors say, that, you know, they can't actually tell you what's wrong because they don't know. And so they will give you a title of what is wrong, but then there'll be no cure because it's chronic. But, you know, as I go along, things will make more sense, like how it made sense for me. And I just want to say that these videos in no way, shape or form ever promote not going to see your doctor. They don't promote not taking doctor's advice. They don't promote, you know, this isn't me saying, don't do that, it doesn't work, do this. This is me saying, this is what works for me. These are proven, scientifically proven things that you can do to help yourself become more grounded and ultimately cure you. And, you know, don't take my word for it. Take the words from the people that I take the words from, and some of them I will speak to you about today. I have jotted a few things down because my memory is not the best at all. My memory is shocking, actually. So I have jotted a few things down, otherwise you'll be listening to waffle, and I don't think you want to listen to waffle all day long. But also, these things are in my head, but just so that I get them out in the order that I want to, as organically scripted. It's not scripted, as organic as possible. I just need some kind of structure. So yes, in 2022, in between referrals, as I mentioned before, one of the books I read, and I'll, in the description part of the video, I will leave the names, the authors and the links of these people so that you can actually take a look yourself and don't just take my word for it. But in terms of how I thought and when my thinking changed from being scared, having a scare brain, not understanding why I felt the way I felt, feeling lost, feeling trapped and feeling scared for my life, basically, I read a book which somebody put in the group called The Way Out by a guy called Alan Gordon, who's a doctor. And so, yes, he introduced me to kind of chronic illnesses. So his book is called The Way Out, and it's not only about vestibular migraine symptoms, it's about people who have chronic illnesses, and I suppose illnesses and problems and issues that are kind of, I suppose, issues that start from here. So you'll feel it in your arm, or you'll feel it in your back, or you'll have symptoms in your head, you'll have symptoms in your ears, in your neck, like how we do now. We have tinnitus, we have vertigo. All of these symptoms and pains, they don't start from where you can feel the pain or where the symptom is. They actually start from the mind, and that is a mind-body illness. And so he talks about mind-body illnesses and how they become chronic. So chronic mind-body illnesses, and also how to heal. He introduced me to somatic tracking. I'm going to try and explain somatic tracking. So somatic tracking is when you feel a sensation or a pain, and you kind of hone into it, you tune into it. So, for example, if you are feeling dizzy and you take a few deep breaths and then kind of close your eyes, you don't have to close your eyes, and you feel exactly where the dizziness is coming from. So you can pinpoint it in your mind, or when you close your eyes, you can actually, because I do it all the time, you can pinpoint where the symptom is coming from, and you look at it. And that sounds silly when I say look at it, but you kind of look at it in your mind, and you talk about how you're feeling. How does it feel? So you could say, you know, it feels buzzy, it feels heavy, it feels widespread, it feels loud. And when you're describing the sensation or the symptom that you're feeling, you're not feeling it from a place of judgment. You're not feeling it from a place of anger or anxiety. You're feeling it from a place of just describing it. It's almost, you're not judging it, so it's like a non-judgmental description of that sensation. Somatic tracking actually calms down the symptom. I will talk about how that happens, but it does. I would love you guys who are watching this just to try that. Just try it. Just when you feel dizzy or tinnitus, just lie on the bed, close your eyes, take some deep breaths, and just describe how you're feeling, and do not judge the feel. Don't be anxious. Just be calm and describe the sensation that you're feeling. It's got to be done from a place of no judgment. And that's somatic tracking. And so I read the whole book, and I practiced that, and that is one of the things that helped calm my symptoms down. It then led me on to research somatic tracking. So I typed in somatic tracking for vestibular migraine into YouTube, and so I came across a lady called Yonit Arthur. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. If you ever listen to this, Yonit, and it's not, please forgive me. And she did a somatic tracking kind of meditation video. It was absolutely brilliant. It's 10 minutes, and that is one of the things I used to do. If I felt stressed at work, I would go into the car and I'd do a somatic tracking, and believe it or not, I would go back into work with a smile on my face. So yes, I really loved that meditation series. I didn't know much about Yonit Arthur at this time, but around the same time, somebody else in the vestibular migraine group, she posted a book in there by a lady called Joey Remenyi, and that book was called Rock Steady, and it's an amazing book. Another book, it just blew my mind. That book was all about and this is how I learned about neuroplasticity. Try to explain it in the vestibular migraine group. But neuroplasticity is essentially about kind of how you teach your brain to act, and how your brain is based on what you do and what you think, and how you can change the way how your brain thinks, and how you can kind of, I suppose, the way that she describes it is your brain's elastic, and so therefore things can bounce back and change. And so I read that book. I'm not going to go too much into it now, but it was really eye-opening. And it was actually, I didn't read it. I listened to it on audio. And I listened to it every day, and I was driving into work, just listening to her voice. I mean, I don't know who she got to speak her words, but it was just so soothing. And it spoke about the relationship that we have with ourselves and our inner selves, and the attitude that we should have to our illnesses. And honestly, guys, I would really say to read that book. It made me think a lot about the brain and how it works. It made me think a lot about the neurons that I'm firing. So basically, if I'm upset and I'm angry, my brain and I'm living in fear, my brain is trying to protect me, and it's firing neurons basically around my body, and for us in our heads, trying to protect us. Protect them, protect them, protect them. They're angry, they're scared. Boo, 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 boo. So when you've got a symptom and you're scared and you're really like anxious about it, and you know, you're saying, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to go to work? How am I going to do this? This was me. How am I going to go to the gym? How am I going to go and manage people at work? You're constantly sending these neurons that your brain is firing neurons at the parts of your body that are creating the symptoms. And yeah, so how do you reverse that? You react different to when you have a symptom. But I laugh, and I shouldn't laugh, but I laugh because it's like, for me now, to me, it's common sense now, because I know why I feel better. I don't do what I used to do, therefore I feel better. And when I was doing what I used to do, I felt worse. So I'm living proof, living evidence that the more you stress and the more you fear, the more that your brain's perceiving danger, and the more that you're sending those neurons to those parts of your body that are making the symptoms worse. So yeah, so I read, and she introduced neuroplasticity, and yeah, so she spoke a lot about things like body scans. So body scans it's another practice where you will just sit down again, you ground yourself, take a few deep breaths, and you literally just feel your feet on the floor. So you're feeling your whole body, so your feet, your toes, your feet, your legs, and you're feeling what you can feel on them. So it could be your trousers, it could just be the air blowing on them, it could be you've got, I don't know, a joint pain, but you're feeling it, and again from a non-judgmental point of view. And you do that to for your whole body, and you literally are just feeling your body all the way from your feet up into your head, and you're just feeling the sensations that you're feeling, and you're basically saying, you know, I feel okay, or I don't feel okay there, but that's okay. And you're just giving your body nice attention in terms of, you know, you're scanning your body from a non-judgmental point of view. That was another approach that I took when I felt ill. And so you can see all the different approaches. So they helped me feel better. But again, I was like feeling better, and I was like, oh my gosh, and it'll come again. I was like, oh, do a scan, and I was doing these things that were helping me feel better. But then, in a way, I'll talk about this more, it's a bit counterproductive, and I'll tell you why. But these are the things that I did. So yes, these techniques helped me. I would say it helped me and educated me on how not to judge how I felt. So yes, that it was really good. They did help me, and so it helped change the way that I thought about symptoms, and it helped me with fear. It helped me to understand kind of why I felt the way I felt. I mean, for example, I've always been an anxious person, and if I do revisit my past, which some of these authors tell you to do, I can see where my fear started from, and why it's followed me through life. With the body scans, I typed it into Google as well, body scans for vestibular migraine, and believe it or not, I saw Yonit Arthur again. She actually had a group called The Steady Coach where she posts videos, and she's brilliant in terms of how she digs into, I suppose, the mental health side of things. And I actually signed up to her coaching, and in there was a lot of things around, there was like lots of documents on there, things that you could help, like things like journaling. She had like weekly kind of like Q&A sessions, etc. And she really helped me dig into my past, and she helped me, like I mentioned before, understand where my anxieties came from. And so she really helped me to understand more about me, which I already knew, but then I was able to kind of add that, or I added one and one together and made two. I found out I am the way that I am because of my upbringing, because of the things that I feared, because of my anxieties which have come from certain situations in my life, in my past, and also to learn more about my personality. I'm guessing when I was younger I was probably a bit of a people pleaser, always wanting people to like me, always wanting to be somebody that was, I suppose, I've always been, not so much now in my old age, but when I was younger, like the centre of attention, or wanted to be the life and soul of the party, or wanted to be the helper, or wanted to do new things, or wanted to, you know, create new opportunities, helping people, getting all the girls together to go to an event or to go on holiday. It was always me. And it wasn't something, it was something that was very, I suppose, natural in a way. It became natural, and it's something that I wanted to aspire to be. But with all of that, all that build up, all that stress, all that tension, all that anxiety, it didn't help me. So when I think of the things, because I had an autoimmune disease, which is, autoimmune diseases are brought on by stress, which are also, it's debatable, but I do believe, and some other mind body people also do believe, that it is a mind body problem. Obviously stress is your mind. Autoimmune diseases that are caused by stress or by leaky gut, your mind. So yes, that is why I am and who I am today, from the research that I have researched and applied to my life based on the things that I have learned, which have helped me. So my evidence is myself. I have two chronic illnesses, that the doctors have called chronic, of course. But it's the relationship that I have with my mind that have made these illnesses what they are. So it's just about working on me, and not everybody has a chronic illness from stress, but some people do. Everyone's got a different brain, different mind, they think differently, but you can put certain people into the same box because their minds react, and their brains, if you like, react in a certain way to stress and to anxiety, which then causes pains and symptoms to become chronic. So yes, so yeah, this is what I found out about myself. I also realized that I was doing a lot of things to make myself better. So could these things be counterproductive? If I know how my brain works, I know what triggers me, I know how to get better, I know how to calm the symptoms, but then they come back, and so then I have to do it again. Am I then telling my brain, am I actually saying that I am fearing something, and hence why I'm doing all these practices all the time? Good question. So the funny thing is by now I'm a new me. I spoke in a few videos ago about, I felt like, 85% or 90% better. That the last thing that I needed was this, to feel better. But it wasn't actually about feeling better. It was about accepting the fact that I have these symptoms and I don't fear these symptoms. And by not fearing these symptoms and is still now is what's making me feel better and happy. So mentally, I am better than I was before I got chronic, because I didn't have the understanding about how the brain works. But knowing how the brain works, it's opened up my mind, not just to how to heal myself from vestibular migraine and liking planners, but also in general with how I think about things. So this is funny, but this is amazing. So Yonit Arthur had an interview on her station with a guy called Dan Buglio. I'm sorry, Dan, if I've pronounced your name wrong. And they were having a talk, because obviously they're both from the mind-body space, and she was talking about her approach, and then she was introducing him and talking about his approach. Obviously, Yonit Arthur specialises with people with vestibular issues, so with vertigo and tinnitus kind of issues, chronic issues, whereas Dan speaks about mind-body illnesses as a whole. He had extreme sciatica in his youth, and he suffered for years and years and years, and he studied and studied and studied, and he did loads of different things, and he found the mind-body space, and he learned, and he shared a bit like what I'm doing now, but he shared what worked for him. And Dan Buglio is actually one of these 4 people that I've mentioned who I listen to today, every single day. He's absolutely amazing. I don't listen to him because I am in a place that I need to fix myself. I listen to him because I think what he's doing for people is quite inspirational, and I'm not going to be able to carry on doing what I'm doing without speaking about him and the 3 other people that have helped me on my journey. So yeah, check him out. I'm going to look at the description. You'll see him in the link. He's fantastic. And the way that his approach is that he uses an approach from Dr. Sarno. I'll put some Dr. Sarno links in the description as well. But Dr. Sarno is like the G of mind body. And so he made me realise that all the techniques that I was doing could actually be making my brain scared. And it's something that I thought about, and it was confirmation. That isn't saying that the techniques are wrong, because they're not, because they all worked for me. Somatic tracking, body scans, they all helped, but they need to be used in the right way. If you feel ill or you get symptoms and you're constantly doing like somatic tracking, or you're doing body scans, or you're doing journaling constantly, then yeah, if your brain doesn't realize actually that you're doing it constantly and it's like not counterproductive yet, it will work. But if you fall into a cycle of doing it because you want to heal yourself, I'm doing it because I want to get better, I'm doing it because I don't know for the symptoms, that approach doesn't work. So I still believe that there is a place for somatic tracking and body scans, because I still do them now, but I don't do them because I'm feeling unwell. And if I am unwell and I am doing them, because sometimes I will have tinnitus and vertigo, without fearing it, I will have it. I will do it because I like the feeling that I feel when I do it, rather than because I know at the end of that, I'm going to feel better anyway. But I'm not doing it to feel better. I'm doing it because I like to do it. And I'm doing it because the relationship that I have with my brain, I know that I've got a connection with those techniques, if that makes sense. So, yeah, Dan Buglio is amazing, and one of the things I love that he says is he just says, go live your life, just go live your life. And to someone who's suffering, hearing that is like, you probably want to punch me in the face. But when you understand the technique and the reason behind that sentence, it makes more sense, because the symptoms are real. The pains are real. It's horrible. I've lived it, so I know, I'm not somebody that hasn't lived it trying to teach. It's someone who has lived it and sometimes still lives it. But the difference is that I still live my life. I've gone and lived my life. Even today, I went to the gym. It was a hectic day before the gym. And everyone who has vestibular migraine or any type of vestibular issue, chronic vestibular issues, know that the tension and stress can bring it on. And so before I went into the gym, I took some deep breaths. I took 3 deep breaths, breathed in and out 3 times. And I thought, right, I'm going to the gym. And I walked in and did a workout. Because I know by grounding myself, I know that I've told my brain that I'm safe. And so I hope this makes sense. I'm not going to go on too much longer. I'm conscious that this is getting quite long. And these are things that I really feel will work for you. I think it's important to feel your symptoms. I think it's very, very important to get into your mind that you should never try to get rid of them. I think you should try and feel them, because the moment you try to get rid of them, if you're like, right, I've got to get rid of this, got to go, you're sending fear signals to your brain, and so your brain is on high alert. It's important to breathe into them. This is just, and I'm not saying to do this all the time. Do it how it works for you. I will give more information around this, but it's important to breathe into them. So when you can find 5 minutes and your symptoms are high, feel them and breathe into them. It's also important not to judge the feelings that you feel. Do not judge the symptoms that you feel. When you feel them from a non-judgmental point of view. Take very small steps in doing what you want to do. Take small steps. It's important not to, it's difficult. I wouldn't say to just jump into doing things. It's important to take small steps in doing what you want to do. Smile and do it anyway. That's number 5. Smile and do it anyway. And as I go on, and as you listen to these videos, it will make more sense. These 5 steps right now might sound like absolute rubbish. Smile and do it anyway. One of the things that sometimes helps me get through a stressful day at work is by not just smiling, but believing in my smile and thinking, you know what, it's going to carry on. It's took me some time to get here, so I'm not at all saying this is easy, because it isn't easy. It's like, this is something that Dan said, actually. So Dan, I'm not going to take the credit for this. It's like playing an instrument. If you stop playing an instrument, then you can forget. So, but by spending a few minutes a day or a few minutes a week on that instrument will help you to get better. So it's a constant, but not constant in the way that you're doing things in an aggressive way to get rid of something, but in a learning way, in an accepting way, and an enjoying way. So yeah, those are my 5 steps, I'd say. So yes, acceptance, it's important. Don't be scared. When you're scared, your brain feeds off that. Your brain feeds off fear. If you're happy, if you're in a different place, if you're in an acceptance place, your brain feeds off that. Anything you tell your brain that you are, anything you feel and you tell your brain will then create that. It will create neurons. Our brains are so powerful. And also, yeah, I just wanted to say as well, with the somatic tracking and the body scans, I think when they are used correctly, they can be effective. I wouldn't rely on them as I'm going to do it every day from 10 till 2 o'clock without any change. I'm going to do it, because that is like you're kind of revving your body up to do something that you're doing it out of like habit. You're doing it out of fear. potentially, I think it should be done out of, oh, I'm going to do that today. Oh, like for me, for example, I will do them so randomly. And if I do feel like I'm getting a bit of a scared brain, I will either take 3 deep breaths and carry on, or I will do a somatic tracking. And again, not to purposely get rid of the pain, but because I know that I know how to do them from a non-judgmental place. So I don't want to contradict myself. I am going to go through videos and explain these things in more detail. But yeah, I've got here, don't do it to stop symptoms, do it to ground yourself. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. That's why I write things down. Yeah, it's not to stop symptoms, it's to calm yourself down. It's just to calm yourself down. Like, you know, when you breathe in and you take, when you calm yourself down, you're actually calming your brain down. So yes, so this is how, essentially, how I've got to where I am today. And I am going to try to help anyone who wants my help in terms of vestibular migraine and other illnesses related to tinnitus and vertigo that are chronic, from a position of just being me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not in the medical field. I'm actually a marketeer. And that's my profession. But I am passionate about something that has worked for me and thousands of people across the world, not just with vestibular migraine, but with other illnesses too. And as we go along, as we journey along, you know, I'm going to take you on this journey with me. And my end goal is to offer support. And yes, that's what I'm going to do. And I hope anybody who is interested can follow this, can like and share my YouTube channel. And yes, I will go on this journey with you, and I will help you to get a grounded mind. So yes, please like, please share, and stay tuned for the next video. Thank you for having me.